unusual fashion. I said, Devin, we're following the money, and I'm going to tell you right now that the DNC and Hillary paid for this. It was 9 a.m. on a weekday, and he literally looks at me and he goes, Cash, if you're going to start drinking this morning, get out of my office. It always goes back to the money, and it's the easiest thing to follow because you have to document it in some fashion or you got to move it in some way. We were able to, pursuant to the judge's authority, allow myself and one other colleague to visit banks' attorneys and review in closed session the records. And we were not allowed to disclose it to anybody what we reviewed. And then finally, on the eve of the ruling of the court, Fusion disclosed that Christopher Steele had been paid by the DNC themselves. There were names that would eventually come out that were being paid by Fusion, names now that are public.
Christopher Steele, the Steele Dossier, okay? This is what Trump always calls the Steele Dossier, that fake report that came out. It was all fake. It was a hoax. Christopher Steele in the Steele Dossier. Let's continue.
So in a recent revelation, Charlie Kirk highlighted findings from the Declassified House Intelligence Committee report that suggests Russia had significant anti-Clinton information during the 2016 election. The report details claims regarding Hillary Clinton's health, including allegations of severe ailments and internal DNC concerns about her fitness for office. Notably, it mentions that Russia chose not to release this damaging information during the critical final days of the campaign, contradicting narratives about their intentions to support Donald Trump. Kirk argues that this decision undermines the premise of the so-called Russia hoax, suggesting that the CIA under John Brennan may have suppressed these findings to create a alternative narrative. And we also have Tulsi Gabbard having something.
The witch hunt that you should be talking about is they caught President Obama absolutely cold. Tulsi Gabbard, what they did to this country in 2016, starting in 2016, but going up to 2020 in the election. They tried to rig the election, and they got caught. And there should be very severe consequences for that. You know, when we caught Hillary Clinton, I said, you know what? Let's not go too far here. It's the ex-wife of a president, and I thought it was sort of terrible. And I let her off the hook, and I'm very happy I did. But it's time to start, after what they did to me, and whether it's right or wrong, it's time to go after people. Obama's been caught directly. So people say, oh, you know, a group. It's not a group. It's Obama. His orders are on the paper. The papers are signed. The papers came right out of their office. They sent everything to be highly classified. Well, the highly classified's been released. And what they did in 2016 and in 2020 is very criminal. It's criminal at the highest level. So that's really the things you should be talking about. I know nothing about the other, but I think it's appropriate that they do go.
May I ask you about that, Mr. President?
Yeah.
Tulsi Gabbard has submitted a criminal referral to the Department of Justice. From your perspective, who should the DOJ target as part of their investigation? What specific figures in the Obama administration?
Well, based on what I read, and I read pretty much what you read, it would be President Obama. He started it. And Biden was there with him, and Comey was there, and Clapper. The whole group was there.
Yeah.
Brennan, they were all there in a room. Right here, this was the room. This is much more beautiful than it was then, but that's okay. Nice picture.
We do a little trolling.
You know what?
It's called we do a little trolling.
We do a little trolling, you know, Clapper, the Shady Bunch. And, you know, here's the thing, Matt, is that I'm afraid that, you know, all this stuff is coming out now and it's going to be overshadowed by the debacle of the Epstein files and how they botched those files, how they botched the release of information from Jeffrey Epstein. And it seems, you know, that now I'm not disregarding the report that's come out, that it's true that, you know, perhaps Obama is guilty, that, you know, this whole Steele dossier, the Russia hoax to try to undermine President Trump's first presidency term in 2016 to 2020. I'm not doubting that it's true that there was, a fake attempt at a coup against Donald Trump, but releasing it right now, I mean, especially we're not even going to talk about the MLK files that also got thrown out.
He's feeding, the animals in the cage. He's throwing some meat for them to go after, which is us. And to be honest with you, I think it is going to ultimately end up pacifying us, because what is the reason why we want the Epstein files released? And it is because we want to get to the deep state and the cleaning of the House that's take place. So if you can fast forward.
Yeah.
If you can fast forward to the indictments, which we'll be getting into next, that are coming, then I don't think it's going to take our focus off the attention of the Epstein files, but it's going to give him a little bit of extra time while he sort of gets his act together to give us something that indicates that we are going to see people within the deep state going to prison. Now, if this ends up turning into another filibuster and we end up seeing months go by, then that's not going to pacify us. But I think it is smart to say, for whatever reason, we've done the Epstein stuff to the death, and we'll get into those updates, that is now sort of been put into Trump's column, where he has said, hey guys, they've used this as a double-edged sword. They've planted information against me and against people, and there's a lot of innuendo in there that's not true. So all the hype that you've been hearing about the Epstein files is not going to get people put in prison per se. And while they're settling the dust and all that and figure everything out, making moves and actually to arrest Hillary Clinton, arrest John Brennan, arrest James Comey, I mean, I believe that this was really going to keep us heading in the direction of faith and hope. And it restores my faith meter. My faith meter, as a result of this, is up to 85%. Easily persuaded.
You idol worshiper.
Yeah.
You idol worshiper, you Matt. Oh man.
Let's real quick finish the segment here, because we do have indictments that are coming, and of course that is really what is going to be the best food for us who are looking to see the deep state disassembled.
So what I think I hear you saying is there is still an opportunity for indictments, potential prosecutions, accountability from those people who may have lied under oath, like John Brennan, James Comey, and perhaps Hillary Clinton.
Well, that's why I've made the referrals that I have. D&I Gabbard has made referrals, and why we're going to continue to share the intelligence that would support the ability of our Department of Justice to make bring fair and just claims against those who have perpetrated this hoax against the American people and this stain on our country.
Director, one other question on this. Tulsi, as well as President Trump, used the...
Yeah. So we are seeing efforts moving forward, at least in terms of talk, that indicate that we're going to be seeing indictments coming by people who are really have led this Obama hoax. And as Cash was saying earlier in that previous little mini doc that had been put together, this is something that they're actually in possession of evidence for, that they believe they can put a case together in order to put these people in jail and indict them. But as usual, we're always predicting that everything is just a distraction in order to keep our limited attention spans fed from moment to moment, as we forget what happened, yesterday and the day before. I don't think the Epstein thing is going away. That's for sure.
Yeah. So, as far as this whole Obama being guilty and this attempted coup, one thing that I think that we have to consider, and I think even Trump had even mentioned, is the presidential.
The thing I was thinking about is when I was
immunity.
fired from Project Veritas, the thing I created, I felt the demon.
Oops, doozy.
Is the presidential immunity that the Supreme Court had recently ruled in favor of. Number one, it was used for Donald Trump to give him immunity. That he couldn't be prosecuted for things that he had done during his presidential term, and even Donald Trump alluded to this possibility that Obama might be, I guess, given a free pass here because of his presidential immunity. But I did hear about a little bit of something else, is that obviously like the Russia hoax and this coup that was led by President Obama continued after his presidency. And if that's the case, then then we really do have a possibility for real indictments, real accountability, and hopefully that's what we get. I mean, obviously we want accountability, so we'll see.
Yeah. Well, in the meantime, we're just in a political circus of political theater. Yeah. Let's move on.